I stared at the $300 HOA fine in disbelief, my blood boiling. They were fining me for building a road on my own land. A 300-foot access road I designed myself as a civil engineer, fully permitted by the county. Then Constance Hartwell, the power-hungry HOA president, showed up on my porch, smirking, demanding I pay up immediately. "Mr. Webb, you will comply with community standards," she sneered, waving the fine like a weapon. "Pay now or we'll lien your property." I stepped closer. "And how do you plan to access your neighborhood when I block the easement?" Her smug expression faltered. "What easement?" "The one and only road giving your entire 47-home subdivision legal access to the highway. The one running through my corner property." She thought she was shaking me down for $300. She actually just handed me the power to make her whole neighborhood worthless overnight. 6 months earlier, I was Marcus Webb, freshly divorced civil engineer, sitting in an empty apartment staring at papers that had cut my life in half. After 25 years designing municipal infrastructure for ungrateful bureaucrats, at 52 I was done being pushed around. That's when I found the 2.3-acre corner lot in Willowbrook. The moment I saw those property lines on the survey map, something clicked. This wasn't just land. This was leverage. The lot sat at the perfect intersection, controlling access between the county road and the entire subdivision. The previous owner, an old farmer, had held on to it for decades, probably laughing at all the city folk who built around him. I bought it cash, the best impulse purchase of my life. The farmhouse needed everything, but I had time and tools. Morning coffee mixed with the smell of fresh sawdust became my new routine, the satisfying weight of my hammer driving nails into solid wood, rebuilding something that would last. For 3 peaceful months, I thought I'd found paradise. Then I met Constance Hartwell. Picture the most power-hungry HOA president imaginable, then add bleach blonde hair, nails sharp enough to cut glass, and a voice that could shatter windows. She drove a white BMW SUV covered in bumper stickers. "Community standards matter, respect authority, Willowbrook pride." The click of her designer heels on pavement announced her like a warning siren. Our first meeting, she cited me for a mailbox 2 inches below regulation height, a mailbox that had been there since Reagan was president. The citation came on official HOA letterhead, so official looking you'd think she was the IRS. That was just her opening move. Over the next month, she went on a citation rampage. Mrs. Rodriguez got hit for bird feeders attracting undesirable wildlife. Apparently cardinals didn't meet Willowbrook's aesthetic standards. The Hendricks family faced fines for grass a 1/4 inch too tall. Some college kid got violated for parking his Honda in his own driveway because it was inconsistent with neighborhood character. She had turned the HOA into her personal kingdom, ruling through fear, fines, and paperwork. Most people paid up and kept quiet. Easier than fighting City Hall, right? I should have seen trouble coming when I started planning my driveway. The farmhouse sat 300 feet back from the county road, connected by a dirt track that turned into a swamp every time someone watered their lawn. As an engineer who'd spent decades building proper infrastructure, that muddy mess offended me professionally. So I did everything right. County permits, professional surveyor, engineered drainage, a proper 300-foot paved access road entirely within my property lines, built to last 50 years. The day I laid the first section of asphalt, breathing in the hot tar, hearing the smooth hum of the roller compacting everything perfectly, I felt like I was finally building something permanent. That's when Constance struck. She appeared the next morning, like a suburban Grim Reaper, waving a citation that spiked my blood pressure. $300 for unauthorized road construction affecting neighborhood aesthetics. The audacity was breathtaking. What this power-drunk dictator didn't realize was that she'd just picked a fight with the one guy in Willowbrook who knew exactly how to make her regret it. 3 days later, A certified letter arrived, jammed in my screen door like a ransom note. Inside was a masterpiece of bureaucratic intimidation. Not only was I still on the hook for the $300, but now they'd added $150 in administrative fees and $75 for certified delivery. Pay $525 within 30 days, or they'd lien my property. The letter even warned how liens could destroy my credit, tank refinancing options, and damage my standing in the community. That afternoon, Constance arrived for round 2, bringing a nervous compliance officer. "Mr. Webb," she announced, heels clicking like a death march. "I hope you've reconsidered. We're reasonable people, but rules are rules." Something inside me snapped into focus. "I'd like to review the HOA covenant documents," I said calmly. The compliance officer blinked. Constance's smile froze. That weekend I spent hours at the county records office, digging through musty files. Turns out the Willowbrook subdivision was platted in 1987, when some developer thought my corner lot would make a perfect gas station. They marked it as future commercial development, meaning my property was never technically subject to HOA authority. Some attorney back then screwed up the paperwork, and nobody caught it for 35 years. But it got better. Buried deeper was an ingress-egress easement agreement, a legal contract giving the subdivision access through a 50-foot strip along my property. Standard, except the agreement required the HOA to pay the property owner $500 annually starting in 1987. 36 years of unpaid fees plus compound interest at the state-mandated 6%. The total? $7,500. While Constance threatened to lien me over $525, she was sitting on a debt 15 times that amount. Monday morning, I called the HOA office. "Tell Miss Hartwell that Marcus Webb called about the $7,500 in unpaid easement fees." She called back in 18 minutes, voice strained. "Mr. Webb, I don't know what kind of game. No game, Constance. Just property law." My neighbor Elena Rodriguez came over with homemade tamales and stories of 3 years of Constance's harassment, bogus fines for garden decorations, mailbox colors, even the number of cars during family gatherings. She targeted single moms, immigrants, anyone who didn't fit her vision of suburbia. That's when I decided to fight back. I sent a certified letter, 30 days to pay the easement fees or face legal action. Constance retaliated viciously, filing complaints with the county, poisoning my reputation with clients, organizing petitions. But every escalation gave me more ammunition. A surveyor confirmed the HOA had been illegally dumping brush and debris on my property for years. Trail cameras captured the compliance officer cutting across my land. I installed a professional security system and posted signs. "Private property. Easement use monitored." The neighborhood split. Elena built a reform coalition. I discovered financial records showing the HOA was broke, with Constance using funds for her divorce attorney. Then I found a 1987 city ordinance requiring subdivisions on former farmland to maintain access roads to code, or risk zoning revocation. Willowbrooks Road was a disaster. Potholes, poor drainage, faded signs. I could revoke the easement with 90 days' notice, landlocking 47 homes. Property values would crater. Mortgages would be called. But Elena reminded me those families didn't choose this war. I wanted justice, not destruction. So I drafted an ultimatum: pay the fees, remove Constance, implement transparency, or watch the neighborhood become worthless. I installed an automated gate, solar-powered, remote-controlled, tracking every vehicle. Emergency services always open. Residents needed cards I controlled. Constance refused to distribute them, holding her own neighbors hostage. Cars backed up during rush hour. Horns blared. At an emergency board meeting, 89 people packed the clubhouse. An 80-year-old widow stood up. Constance, explain why my grandson drove 6 hours from college and had to sleep in a hotel because of your tantrum. The room turned. Evidence poured out. Financial crimes, harassment, sabotage attempts captured on camera. Constance in white pajamas at 2:47 a.m. trying to cut cables with bolt cutters. She filed false police reports, called CPS on Elena's kids. At the public county hearing, I presented everything: photos, records, embezzlement details. Constance exploded, screaming about terrorism. Elena spoke calmly about the discrimination. Bill Hendricks, former treasurer, read transaction after transaction of stolen funds. The sheriff served a subpoena. Constance resigned the next day. The gate cards were distributed. Elena became interim president. The HOA paid the $7,500. Criminal charges followed: embezzlement, fraud. From the wreckage came real change: transparency, term limits, a scholarship fund from recovered money. Property values recovered. The gate became a security asset everyone appreciated. Looking back, that $300 fine seems almost quaint. Sometimes, the best thing for a community is a tyrant pushing exactly the wrong person too far.